Okay, so there are three ways that you can try to ensure that the next album, the next set of tracks you create for sync licensing are the highest quality, meaning the most marketable, the most licensable, have the highest odds of securing you placements with TV and film clients, okay? There's the dumb way, there's the better way, and then there's the optimal way. Let's start with the dumb way. This is definitely something I did far too many times in my career and something that maybe some of you have been doing. And hopefully after this video, stop doing it. Please stop doing it, okay? The dumb way is as you're thinking about the next set of tracks or album you're going to produce, you just rely on your own instincts, right? I've done this so many times in my career, especially early on, where I said, I'm kind of into trip hop right now. I want to make a trip hop album. Zero market research, zero communication, just something that I was into at the moment was some cool music that I was excited about. Went and partnered with a vocalist. We made some great music, produced it, sent it to a library that did accept it, but ended up securing us very little over the lifespan of that album. Probably not a good use of our time. Should have done something else. Also, another example from my career, went in and got into some very complex electro, EDM, complex music back in 2013, 2014, when that was kind of all the rage in the clubs. I was living in Vegas at the time, was hearing this kind of crazy, glitchy, very experimental EDM music. I'm into that. I want to do that for sync. Put a bunch of tracks together, send it to the library I was working with, rejected. Cool music guy, but nothing we can use, too complex, too noisy, too distracting. Sorry, we just don't have any use for this. So if that's what you've been doing, or that's what you think, that's what you've been thinking about doing for the next album you're putting together, please save yourself the time, the headache, and the heartbreak in the future from rejections or no placements, and don't just rely on your own preferences or instincts, okay? We got to remember, this is a service industry. We're not here just to make music for ourselves, but to make music that is useful for production, okay? So let's move into the better way, okay? You can do your own market research and find production music libraries and listen to their current catalog, meaning all of the music that that library has already said yes to, has already put under contract, and feels confident enough about it that they've been distributing it to TV and film clients. Also, many companies will feature many of their placements. You can actually literally go see for yourselves and hear for yourself what actually is being placed, what's being distributed by current companies. So I'm going to show you how to do this in just a second, but you can do this 100% for free on your own. You just go to Google, type in TV film production music library. You can find many of these companies, and I'd say 90 to 95% of them have a catalog that is just open to the general public, meaning you can go type in and find your particular style of music. And that's when you really want to start A/B comparing what your music is doing versus what their music is doing. So let me just go ahead and show you very quickly an example how to do this. Okay, so here we are at Reliable Source Music's website. This is actually one of the Sync Edge libraries that we recommend to our members. And this is a company out of the UK, but the vast majority of the companies that we recommend are based in the States. However, we do occasionally dip our toes across the pond and show you guys some great, high quality, reputable companies with track records all over the world, essentially in Sync Edge. But let's say you're potentially wanting to work with a company like this. Well, they have a website. It's reliable-source.co.uk. You can go right to it. And you can, like I said, for most of these companies, go searching right through their entire catalog and check out what they have distributed and actually categorized already in their catalog. So let's say that you are making minimal tension music, which some of you might want to do. That's great for a lot of documentaries. That's great for reality TV shows and dramas as well. It's actually a very versatile style of music. So if you don't know what minimal tension is, you'll find a little bit more about that in this video. But this is the kind of analysis that you want to sort of do with your particular style of music, your particular genre, whatever it is. First, notice the length of most of their tracks. What do you notice about these lengths? 230, 228, 215, 204, 158. They hover around 2 minutes. So if you were to come to this company, you wouldn't want to give them a 4-minute long minimal tension cue. That doesn't seem like it'd be useful for them. So that's the first cheat sheet guide code you get from just looking at directly what this library has already collected and is distributing to its clients. You can learn a lot by just looking at the waveform, how the track starts, how do they finish. Are there any fade outs in any of these for the waveforms? Can you see that? I don't see any fade outs. I see this one, but I'm sure there's a hit right there where it just has a noise fading out. But most of these, as you can tell, they have a definite hit at the very end. We'll play some of those so you can hear it. It's kind of a golden rule with production music. You always want to have that hit. But most importantly, what you want to do is pay attention to the sonic quality of the instruments, how the track is structured, how much it builds, how large does it get. You can notice with some of these that they kind of save the end of the track for where they have a little bit of a bigger crescendo. Others, they're just kind of slowly pulsing along the entire time through. It doesn't seem like they have major crescendos or any sort of builds. So there's a variety of different styles of music or different styles of structures that you can do. But whatever you do, and in whatever genre you produce, these tracks you find in the particular library that you want to pitch to should be your reference track. A reference track is basically one that you follow in terms of emulating its length. You don't copy its chord progressions or its melody. That would be copyright infringement. You can use its same BPM. That's not copyright protected. And you can use its very similar or identical structure in terms of, this track has 4 bars intro, 2-bar rise, big crescendo, that kind of a thing. You can definitely follow the skeleton of the reference track. And obviously you want to make sure that your music is sounding on par, quality-wise, loudness-wise, all that kind of stuff with what you're hearing here. So we'll just take a listen to a couple. So this is the first one, Contradictions. You can hear how this minimal tension cue sort of works. Very minimal intro. Little lift there with a little percussion. Lots of reverb. Kind of reverse sounds. Here's a lift. A little more low end. With minimal tension, it's all about staying in the background. You don't want to get in the foreground. And you can do this for all of these tracks and listen to all the different types and approaches that these composers are doing. So I won't go through all of that in this video. If you want more company recommendations and you want more analysis like this, that's what you want to go get in Sync Edge. It is our premium service that gives you actually 60 companies like Reliable Source, but like I said, most of them based in the US if you're interested in something like that. Now, let's get back into the third and the most, I think the best, the smartest way, the most optimal way to ensure that the music you're going to create next is going to have the highest odds of flying off the shelf and getting placements ASAP. The most optimal way to ensure your tracks are going to do the best in this business, at least have the highest odds of success, is to directly communicate with a library representative, most, likely, hopefully, a CEO. So if you don't work with a library yet, you haven't been accepted yet, I have a very, very powerful, useful service for you. But for those of you that are already working with a library, you should not be doing number 1 or number 2. No way, not at all. You should be doing number 3, which is email, call, get on the phone, get on the Zoom call. Have a consistent line of communication with your library that you're working with and ask them, what are you working on right now? What are your clients looking for? What are you noticing that's flying off the shelf? What's more in demand? What kind of requests are you seeing? Insight, direct human-to-human communication is the best and most profitable path in this industry. I know many of us can be a little bit shy. We want to work behind the scenes. We don't want to really be too involved socially with a lot of the ins and outs of the business. I'm sorry, but there's really no excuse for you as a composer producer initiating these kind of conversations with your library owner. Do not expect them to come to you and say, this is what I want you to work on next. You should take it upon yourself to insert yourself into that conversation so that they know that you're hungry, that you're ready, and that you want to make sure that the tracks that you're producing are not relevant in maybe 6 months or a year or 2 years, but this month, this quarter for the clients that they have, okay? If you're not working with a library and you're like, Jesse, sounds great, but I can't get one of these library CEOs to email me if I'm not working with them, and I've sent DMs and nobody's replying. This is basically impossible. You're right, because these are very busy people and they are probably not going to reply to you if you don't already have a track record with them and you're already under contract giving them music. This is why I've created a service called Sync Connect. It's actually over a year old at this point if you haven't heard of it. Sync Connect is the only service that you can find online where you, a composer, producer, musician, get to jump on a Zoom call every single month with a new library CEO. And we get to ask them these very, very crucial and important questions. First one being what I ask every CEO and representative that comes on is, what do you guys need right now? What is hot? What are the demands out there? What are your library, what are your clients looking for? What are the TV clients asking for more of? What are you seeing jump off in your royalty statements? What kind of sync fee opportunities are you guys seeing more lately? So Right off the bat, when you jump on our Zoom calls, you're going to hear directly from people who are having these interactions with the TV film clients what exactly is high in demand. I also ask them, what is not in demand? What style of music are you guys good on? You don't need anymore. We shouldn't waste our time trying to pitch you on. What is it that you feel is just not relevant, oversaturated, just kind of not interesting to you? That's kind of useful for you, right? Before you go spend, a month or two putting together the next hip hop rock album, if they're like, you know what, we're good on hip hop rock, we got plenty, and that was the library you wanted to work with, you can avoid that huge costly mistake of time and energy and resources, right? Then you also get to, if you want to be one of the first five that pitch for each one of our library CEOs, you get to have a track reviewed by the representative and potentially accepted by them right there on the call. And I make sure afterwards, if they say thumbs up to you, I make sure to connect you guys via email. So I make direct connections for you guys happen with Sync Connect. Also, you get to ask your own questions via the chat feature. And I think one of the most powerful parts about Sync Connect is not so much that every single month we have new Zoom calls that you can look forward to in the membership area, but also you have all of the previous recorded calls ready for you right now. Like literally, if you sign up right now, there are essentially 15 library CEOs with calls asking them, these very, very important questions very recently on what's going on in their catalog, what's going on with their clients, and what potentially they need. Not only do you get to have that front row access information that you just cannot get from a library, a website search, but you also get to listen to how they reviewed the tracks that were on the call. So if your tracks are similar to a track that they reviewed, you'll kind of get a preview, an insight as to how they would respond or react to your particular track. How valuable is that? I can't tell you, had I had a service like this when I was first getting started in Sync and was thinking about starting to branch out to other companies, but was definitely shy and anxious and worried, like, what if I partner with the wrong company? I know a lot of you guys are worried about that, as you probably should be. To have this kind of look behind the curtain service to really get to know these people before I pitch, understand and know directly what they're looking for, get a preview for how they respond to music, and maybe even have my tracks reviewed directly from them before I even have a contract with them. I mean, the value that you guys get with this service is unmatched. It's unparalleled anywhere else online. So I highly encourage you guys to consider joining us. I'll put the link in the description box. For Sync Edge, which is the library recommendation service, that's where I give you the companies, the URLs, and the analysis of their catalog. And with Sync Connect, both are month to month, cancel anytime, and both with a money back guarantee, 30-day money back guarantee. So you got nothing to risk, nothing to lose by coming and trying it out, see what we got to offer, seeing for yourself if these calls, if these library recommendations are going to help make a difference for you. Not only just finding your next home potentially for your next albums, but also boosting up your motivation. I can tell you that a lot of library composers and producers who have been struggling, having some writer's block, lack of motivation, or just a little bit overwhelmed with, okay, I want to get into this business, but I don't know exactly where I should go. Having a particular set of companies, like maybe 3 to 5 companies that you get from either one of those services, will absolutely jump and boost your motivation and your focus, because now you know exactly where you're going to go. You know exactly what kind of music they've already accepted, and now you've got those reference tracks, so you can A/B compare your way into making sure that your tracks are the most licensable and marketable for whichever companies that you want to pitch to. Now, I do still recommend you go one at a time through these companies, even though you're going to get access to a lot of companies all at once. Please do not BCC or CC all 60 of them at once, or all of the Sync Connect CEOs, and just spam it out there and see what sticks. Please, please, please don't do that. Find 3 to 5 and prioritize them. Have a number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and pitch to each one of them one at a time the music that you feel is the most relevant for each one. Okay, maybe one album is going to be relevant for 5 different companies. We actually break down our libraries based by the genre that we think would be the most relevant for them. But please do pitch them professionally, and with a personalized touch, not as a spam composer producer. The amateurs, the people that are just, whatever, maybe I'll throw my music over here. That's what they're doing. Libraries can see right through that. You don't want to be mixed in with that bunch. You want to be one of the few 3 to 5%ers that really do take this very seriously and start to really thrive in this business. So if you guys have any questions about this video or my services or this process, this would be the video for you to comment on, and I'd be happy to help. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful.